100 player rankings this week. Patrick Mahomes, number 1 for the 6th straight year. And Myles Garrett right behind him for the 2nd straight year. Garrett, the top-ranked defensive player in the league, the only defensive player in the top 8, now under contract for the next 6 seasons in Cleveland after getting a big mega deal this offseason. Let's jump into the Browns here with Bryant McFadden, who spent many a year with the Pittsburgh Steelers in that division playing against the Cleveland Browns, and B-Mac Garrett, one of the very few constants that you know what you're going to get from him on this team because there are so many other outliers. But let's start with him because he does turn 30 this season. Is there any thought in your mind that he's starting to hit the back end of his career?
Well, as a former Steeler, I would hope that he would start to hit the back end of his career because he's terrorized the Pittsburgh Steelers throughout his professional career with the Cleveland Browns. But to answer your question, no, not at all. Myles Garrett can be 30, he can be 31, he can be 32. This is a guy that is always highly conditioned. He works out extremely hard in the offseason to continue to improve in his craft. And I don't see him slowing down anytime soon. And the same can be said for the Cleveland Browns, hence them rewarding him the way they did. Had another double-digit sack season a year ago, 14 sacks to be exact. And he did so while receiving all the attention from opposing offensive linemen, right? So now when you look at the defensive front potentially being a little better, that actually could help Myles Garrett continue to improve in that sack number from a year ago.
Well, something tells me that mega contract is going to work out a little bit better than the one that they handed Deshaun Watson a couple of years ago. Look, we'll talk about the actual quarterback battle in just a minute, but he's rehabbing that Achilles, really not expecting to see him this season. But do you expect to see Deshaun Watson in a Browns uniform ever again?
No, I do not. I know contractually speaking, they're still tied to him going into 2026 financially, right? But outside of that, you know what? Let me take that back, Chris. He could potentially play again for the Cleveland Browns, right? We don't see that happening this year, but because of what I laid out, the financial agreement for 2026, the year 2026 in the NFL, he potentially could still be on the roster just because of the financial agreement. And if he is on the roster, if you paid him a handsome price, you probably want to see that investment on the football field, at least to see what he has in store. But that's a 50-50 chance right now. But when you look at the entire ordeal of this trade, when it's all said and done, regardless what happens from now until his final snap with the Cleveland Browns, this will go down as arguably one of the worst professional trades we've ever seen in American sports.
Well, let's get into the quarterback battle then. The guys who will be battling it out this summer and into the fall, most likely. I'm guessing they're going to have multiple starters at quarterback. They got 2 rookies in Dillon Gabriel and, of course, the headliner, Shedeur Sanders. How do you see this battle being won, and then how do you see it playing out throughout the season?
Well, I see this battle being won by Joe Flacco. I think Joe Flacco will win the starting job, and the reason why is because it seems like Kevin Stefanski, head coach Kevin Stefanski, has a liking to Joe Flacco. He's called him, in the midst of the season, and Joe Flacco has answered the call. Not to mention Joe Flacco he's familiar with this offensive playbook. That helps. Then when you look at how this quarterback room will shake up as we get ready for week 1, I foresee the Cleveland Browns having 3 quarterbacks on their opening day roster. Joe Flacco as the starter, Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel. I think they potentially would try to trade Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett will be the odd man out based on what we're hearing so far throughout the offseason regimen. And if Joe Flacco is the starting job, it doesn't really make any sense to have a veteran, right? A veteran on the roster, especially if you have 2 guys that you invested a draft pick in, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. And oh, by the way, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders have really done a really good job throughout the offseason regimen. So they have really earned leverage on the football field by showcasing what they can do. Now, will Joe Flacco remain the starting quarterback throughout the entire season, Chris? That remains to be seen, but I do believe Joe Flacco will be the open. Against the Cincinnati Bengals.
And it is kind of a changing at the guard at running back as well, because even though
defense aside, but whoever the starting quarterback is, if they can just play smart, sound football, you know they're going to rely heavily on the running game. And to your point, we know about the potential and the talent that Deshaun Watson has. I don't expect to see him be RB1 in the beginning of the season, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Junkins take over that role midway through the season.
B-Mac, take us through the Browns' schedule, which does not look very easy. You're starting with division games and then 3 straight games against the NFC North, Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, and then at your Steelers to start things off the first 6 games of the season. What do you see?
Hey, very, very tough schedule. And this schedule, when you look at weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4, and even going to Minnesota, it makes week 1 overly important. And the reason why I say that, Chris, is because one thing we know about the NFL, week 1 is the week of unknowns. That's where we see upsets take place. Let's go back to a year ago, right? New England traveled to Cincinnati. All the experts or the naysayers felt like Cincinnati would get off on the right track, not knowing exactly what to expect from Jacoby Brissett and New England Patriots. But guess what? Because of the week of unknowns, the Patriots found a way to win that ball game. So if you're Cleveland, you're playing against a team in recent week 1 moments, they haven't fared the best in Cincinnati. That has been an Achilles heel for them in getting off to horrible, slow starts. If you can win that ball game, now you can go into week 2 with momentum. But if you happen to lose that ball game, week 1, the week of unknowns, you got Baltimore, Green Bay, Detroit, Jordan Love, Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, veteran quarterbacks that play at a high level. That could be a very, very difficult task in terms of September football. But in totality, Chris, this was the team that won 3 games last year, right? They were 3-14. I foresee them winning 1 more ball game. I see best case scenario for the Cleveland Browns, 4-13. It's a very, very difficult schedule. They're playing in a difficult division, but I think they can muster up 4 games, and the winnable games could potentially be, right, just as I look at their schedule, Chris, the Raiders, Tennessee, the Jets, maybe Minnesota, depending on what's going on with J.J. McCarthy. And you know, regardless of how bad the Browns have been, they've always found a way to win a game in their division, right? So that's basically a possible. So I see 3 and 2 possibles with the Cleveland Browns, and maybe throw Miami into the equation as well. But I see best case scenario 4 wins for the Cleveland Browns this year. I'm sorry, Browns fans. I'm just based on talking on what I've seen and just looking at the schedule. But I see you guys doing 1 better than what you did in 2024.
Hey, better than last year.
Chúc các bạn làm thành công và hẹn gặp lại các bạn ở những video tiếp theo nhé. Bye bye. Hello, chào mừng các bạn đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Để bắt đầu vào làm thì các bạn sẽ chuẩn bị cho mình những dụng cụ như sau nhé. Ở đây mình có chuẩn bị một tờ giấy màu xanh lá này. Tiếp theo các bạn sẽ chuẩn bị cho mình một cây kéo, một cái bút chì, một cái thước này,